Okay, second shot. Come out the side of the block, right here. Come back to block, and then curve this way. Okay, so we just spent probably 20 minutes looking all back in here, all over for that bullet, and we end up finding it. Okay, camera setting right here. Get this in front of the block, right there on the ground. I have not touched it, that's where it lays. Where we're at, right there it lays. I'll zoom in on that. There it is. Now we'll get you the rest of the results from this and get back to my light box on my table. Okay, we got some double tap long range 308 180 grain Nosler Accubond. Now there's their muzzle velocity, rated with a 22-inch barrel. I'm shooting out of a 24-inch barrel, 1 10-inch twist, 25 yards. Okay, so these are the 180 grain Nosler Accubonds, loaded by double tap. This box are hand loaded. A friend of mine, older gentleman, loaded these up for me. I couldn't tell you the muzzle velocity since I don't have a chronograph, but these are loaded with the Nosler 180 grain ballistic tips. 308. And the 180 grain Nosler Accubonds from double tap. And as far as the box, it's like a standard box they use for everything, and they put the stickers on the end for what they have in them. It's first ammo of double tap I've ever used. I've seen other stuff. Double tap does some pretty crazy stuff. There's an inspection stamp. Okay, there's white tip Accubond. Just stuff out of the way here. Okay, if you're looking at these side by side, you can see the green tip is not seated quite as deep as the white tip. Okay, so anyway, first shot you would have seen already in the video would be the green tip, ballistic tip, 25 yards. Okay, so we get here, and looks like it did not start to open up here till about an really close 2 inches. If you go back here, you're looking at about 1 3/4. That started to open up, and then there's definitely some fragmentation in there. So we come back through, and 16-inch mark into the second block. Okay, now it started to come upwards just a little bit, getting harder to see. Move my light box back here. Okay, come upward, and it stopped right there, still going forward. The leading edge is at 25 3/4. That bottom lower point of that is at 25 3/4. Okay, so then we come back here, box back. Okay, now this is, let me see, well, let me do that here in a second. Let's get the other depth on the top track. Top track is the white tip, double tap loaded Accubond. Okay, there it is, started to open up about right there. So it opened up just a little bit before the ballistic tip. And we're gonna go with 1.25 inches. And for a bonded bullet that's not supposed to fragment, there are some fragments there. You can see the chunk. You can see the chunk here. There's another one up here. And that's actually quite the distance between those two. Right here, just kinetic energy dump right here. Get a big track, comes back. Okay, comes back, 16-inch block. Into the second block. You saw part of this already. That comes back and that's curving. The top track is curving towards this right side, and it exited the block right here. Okay, exited the block right here, and I don't know if it's the whip. I'm assuming the whip from the gel settling back into place, because the kinetic energy pushes it this way, and then the gel settles back into place and whips it back and through the bullet. The reverse direction, and the bullet landed approximately 15 to 20 feet. You would have already seen in the video, the bullet landed approximately 15 to 20 feet in front of the table and gel. Okay, so that's what we got there. So that exited the block at 29 1/4. Okay, so now we come back here and tape measure and get you cavity width. If I set this down for a second. And use two hands, makes it a lot easier. Okay, about the widest point there, we're looking at about 1 3/4. From this point to that point, about 1 3/4. You can see there's fragmentation all through there. which the ballistic tip is designed to do that. The track, we already did. Okay, right around, I don't even remember what I did say, about 1 5/8 inches, 1 3/4 inches. Start open, we'll go with 1 3/4 inches. Okay, that's the mark I marked to that. So from there, it runs, it really dies about the time it hits the second block. So that track is going to be down here. That's going to be roughly 14-inch cavity there, but it's very small back here on this end, height wise. Now if we go to the top one, okay, now this one's pretty wide. Okay, we go from here to there. Wow, that's top fragment, and that permanent cavity track in front of that, they're about the same height, and they're about 2.5 inches height. That's pretty, it's pretty impressive right there. Okay, and that stays pretty wide. Trying to get the camera, sit here so I can use 2 hands. That stays pretty wide back through here. Okay, so from that opening, from when that's open to it died down at about the time it exited the first block, I mean, it's pretty thin there. If we go to here, if we go right before that where it really dies, go right there. Okay, that is about 13.5 inches for the big part of that cavity. So that's pretty, that one's pretty impressive, but that's a bonded bullet and we have fragments. We have a couple fragments in there. Okay. And go ahead and get this one dug out. That's the green tip. Get that dug out of there. The white tip we already have since we found it on the ground. It's right there. That is the Accubond bonded bullet, and you can see there is some jagged separation around those edges. Okay, I'll get this other one dug out here, and then we'll get some weights. Here they are dug out. Got your Accubond, got your ballistic tip. They do look very, very similar, except the ballistic tip does have the separation, and you saw all the fragmentation in the block. I'll turn the scale on here. This one did have a little bit of separation around the petals for a bonded bullet. Now double tap loads them. I know double tap likes to hop stuff up, so I don't know. You know, don't seem like a terrible muzzle velocity what's rated at on the box. 2,645 feet per second out of a 22-inch barrel. It don't seem too bad for a 308, 180 grain. Seems fairly average. Might be a slightly on the higher end of that, but I wouldn't think it would make that big of a difference with a bonded bullet. Shouldn't, unless you get real crazy with the speed. Okay, so these are both 180 grain bullets. This was the green tip, ballistic tip. Okay. 142.7. Here is the Accubond. 155.7. So they're not even that far apart. From a ballistic tip to a bonded. So, you can make your own judgment on whether or not you like the ballistic tip or the bonded. Okay, I'll get you some other measurements here. Okay, as always, these are 1-inch squares. Stand both of them up side by side. That's what we have. Okay, and flip these upside down. There's some gel in that one. That ballistic tip, I guess, didn't weigh quite that much. So let me dig that out and reweigh that. Did not see that. A big chunk. Another piece still in there wrapped up. There we go. Okay. I'll reweigh that at 140.7. Two big chunks of gel there were in the petals. Okay, so here we go with this. Okay, that says 0.626 inches. Turn it this way, get you just a hair wider probably. It's probably the widest point. Nope, 0.619. Okay, so we stick this one in here. This is definitely wide on this side here. Hard to get because of the way it's bent. .6555. That wide point where you get the separation. Give it to you from that angle. Okay, 0.572. So as always, thanks for watching.